Joining us on the program, a journalist who actually does care about the facts when it comes to Operation Fast and Furious, Dave Workman from Gun Week and the Seattle Gun Rights Examiner. How you doing, Dave?
Well, I'm fine tonight, Cam. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us on the program. So we've got a couple of dates this week that we should be keeping an eye on, deadlines for both the State Department and the ATF to turn documents over to Representative Darrell Issa.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be holding my breath really for
No?
Their track record so far hasn't been too sharp. So, we'll just have to see what happens. But I think that the developments last Friday, and you know what I'm talking about, the revelation by Senator Grassley that one of the key figures in this whole fiasco has lawyered up, and now he's cooperating with Grassley's investigation.
Yeah. I mean, this is a big development. George Gillett has hired an outside attorney, apparently, and according to Senator Grassley, is now cooperating with the investigation. You point out, by the way, that earlier this year, Gillett's name came up when Grassley wrote a letter to acting ATF Director Ken Melson.
Well, yeah, that's right. In that letter, Senator Grassley sent to Melson, it was a January 31st letter. Gillet's name came up because it was alleged that Gillett had confronted one of the early whistleblowers and accused him of insubordination or whatever ridiculous complaint that he had. And since then, it has appeared that people are deliberately stonewalling the senator's investigation. Gillet's name having popped up as somebody who went after one of the whistleblowers. Now he's lawyered up, and he's getting the same protection as a whistleblower from Senator Grassley, who has just sent last Friday another letter over to Melson advising him that Gillett has an attorney, that he is cooperating with the investigation through his attorney and in conjunction with his attorney. So it appears there's a serious tilt in the house of cards that's going on with Gunrunner.
Yeah, and I guess with the fact that the federal government is not shut down this week, Dave, we don't have to worry about deadlines being pushed back, no excuses from the State Department or the ATF. And again, the ATF is right now under the subpoena, ATF Acting Director Ken Melson. The State Department has been, they've received a request for documents, but if they don't turn those documents over, I'm guessing, Dave, we may see another subpoena.
Well, that's what I think is going to happen. I spoke today with a guy over at ICE's staff. He couldn't really tell me anything beyond what we already know. We're waiting to see if Mr. Melson comes through on the subpoenaed documents, and then we're going to find out if the State Department follows through on the request, or if they follow the track record that's already been laid out, that they just kind of ignore these requests and force Congressman Issa to issue another subpoena. I mean, this is the same kind of stuff I think that we saw happening during the Watergate era, and people keep reminding people in government in D.C. keep reminding me that all this stuff is a stall. That once somebody starts getting an attorney involved, you got to know that there's really something going on there that needs to be exposed, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, and I think they're right. I mean, we don't know what this special agent in charge, George Gillett, is telling Senator Grassley or telling Representative Issa, but when you hire that outside counsel, it is typically a sign that you're going to say things that your superiors may not want you to say, and you're a little bit worried about your own job security. So I don't think this story is going away anytime soon, Dave. And a matter of fact, I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Well, I think you're right. I think that the public is starting to pick up on this a little bit. I haven't seen anything in the last few days from CBS, except that Cheryl Atkinson did do a pretty extensive blog blog article on Friday about the same time that I went with my column on Friday about Grassley's new letter. There's probably going to be some activity this week because tomorrow and Wednesday, according to my sources, there's a meeting of all the special agents in charge over at ATF headquarters, and the subject is going to be Project Gunrunner. Now, they wouldn't be doing something like that if this was not considered to be a pretty major situation at ATF. These guys know that they let this thing get out of hand. That much is a given. We don't know for sure if they're going to start circling the wagons, if they're all meeting just to get their quote-unquote stories straight on this. But Senator Grassley on one side of the Capitol and Congressman Issa on the other side, they're going after this story. They want the answers. They're not going to accept delays. I know that some documents had been produced that were so heavily redacted that the David Codrea, who had requested those documents under an FOIA, I traded some email with him on Friday. He says these things are worthless, and the answer from the Justice Department that to Congressman Issa last week that gee whiz, we'll cooperate, but due to ongoing investigations, we just really can't provide you with a lot of the information you're asking. That to me is a stall. You don't tell a congressman, blow it out your ear because I'm busy. I mean,
right.
That's not going to work this time.
Yeah, and the ongoing investigation, that's great and all, but there's another ongoing investigation by the House Oversight Committee, and
well, yeah. And one of the guys over there told me, he says, there's no law that says you can't conduct 2 or 3 investigations at the same time. Right. And they, again, they want to keep it all in-house. I mean, they want the DOJ's Inspector General, they want her to conduct the probe. And the problem with that, Dave, is that, the Inspector General wrote, or the Office of Inspector General wrote a report that was very critical of Project Gunrunner. Before the allegations of Fast and Furious came out. And Senator Grassley has said, look, I'm concerned about a conflict of interest here, which is why we need an outside investigator. Well, exactly. And this is a rapidly deteriorating into a situation where you've got an investigation being conducted by the agency that is being investigated. Now, how stupid is that? Nobody's going to go for that.
Yeah.
Even if I was the head of an agency that was being investigated, the first thing I'd ask for would be an independent outside investigation because that keeps it clean. It gives people the appearance of impartiality and let the cards fall where they may. But as we all know from the interviews that were on CBS News with Darren Gill, the former attaché down in Mexico for the ATF, this thing goes all the way up to somebody in the Justice Department. It's got to go there because he told CBS that people at Justice, people above Melson, were aware of this operation. And guess what? That's got to be Justice Department. We just don't know how high this thing is going to go.
Yeah, which is why, that State Department request, talking about a meeting between Carlos Pascual, the then U.S. Ambassador, and Assistant Attorney General Lanny Brewer, that's a really interesting allegation to hear the name of one of Holder's top deputies there at DOJ. Now, again, it's just an allegation. We don't know that meeting took place for sure, but that's probably the highest level name that we've seen, Dave, that would indicate some knowledge. And we could speculate in the 40 seconds we have left as to whether or not if Lanny Brewer knew, if Eric Holder knew. But again, we'll let the investigators investigate that. Dave, I can't thank you enough, sir, for coming on the program tonight. It's always a real pleasure getting a chance to talk with you.
Well, we'll hook up at the NRA convention here in a couple of weeks. I'm sure we'll chat. We'll probably have a lot more to talk about.
I think you are right. Dave, have a great evening, sir. Mr. Dave Workman from the Seattle Gun Rights Examiner and Gun Week.